The reason I'm about to win this debate you're going to watch is because I literally wrote the book on how to do that. Rational Answers to Stupid Questions tackles about 100 of the most common anti-scientific tropes we hear all the time. If you want to be well equipped to tackle stupidity and also learn the history and research behind the facts, you can get a copy by going to the link below. Thank you. Would I consider myself to be the smartest man in the world? How would my answer being yes or no, like, what would that mean?
Well, I'm just curious because the man with the highest IQ in the world, he's come out and
Young
said
Hoon
that
Kim,
this is
the
real.
absolute fraud case. You actually believe that moron?
Yeah, I do, especially
A
more than you.
276 IQ, which would be so many standard deviations that the odds of that being true are something like 1 over 10 to the 30th power or something like that, and whose IQ was supposedly verified by the World Speed Reading Championships, the world record company. Like, it wasn't Guinness World Records. It was just this completely other thing. The most fake thing in the world. You actually fell for that.
Okay, well, what have you ever read?
The dude has
NASA?
no degrees. Well, he does apparently have one undergraduate degree, but he calls himself a doctor because he has 7 honorary degrees. I did a deep dive on this guy. He's just such an absolute fraud. It's insane.
Have you ever done a deep dive into NASA?
You're one of these. Oh, man. So do you want to talk about the Earth being flat? Do you want to talk about God existing? What do you want to talk about?
Why don't you just answer the question? Have you ever done a deep dive on NASA?
Yes. Deeper than you could have ever imagined.
I highly doubt it, because if you still believe anything that NASA says, you'd have to be pretty stupid.
No, I have an IQ of 276 as verified by P is Stored in the Balls Real Estate LLC.
Okay, so I'm supposed to believe that, huh?
You believe a fucking random ass guy on Twitter said, I have the world's highest IQ and I say God exists. You fell for that. You fell for that.
You're a random ass TikTok guy who thinks
and you fell for some random guy saying, I have the world's highest IQ and I think God exists. You fell for that.
You're a cuck. You're a cuck.
That's the best you can do? Yes, it is. Okay.
Bro.
Are you?
Late spheroid.
What percentile would you put yourself in for IQ?
A late spheroid.
What percentile would you put yourself in for IQ?
Well, I don't think I'm that smart. I'm just smart enough to read and know that NASA was started by occultists.
That's great. What does that have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Because they're lying about the shape of the Earth to throw you
You don't
off
need
that
NASA to know the
created.
shape of the Earth. All you have to do is go look at the sun setting.
The sun doesn't set. It just goes out of your perception of view.
No, it literally doesn't.
I can literally show you a video used by a Nikon
actually
P1000 camera. I can. I've got multiple on my phone.
You actually can't.
I actually can.
No, you actually can't.
It's
I've seen countless videos of the sun setting zoomed in, and what the sun does is dip below the horizon. It doesn't go out of your view.
It just goes out of perception. Out of perception. Why don't you look up the different point of view?
Dumbass. Why is it that the sun does not change in size as it's moving away from you if it's getting out of your perception?
Did you really just say the sun doesn't change in size?
Yes, I did, and it doesn't.
And I'm the stupid one?
Yes. You said that you were.
I just said I wasn't as smart. I don't claim to have 276 IQ, but...
No, you said you're not very smart, is what you actually said. So,
I'm just
why
trying to
does
be
the
humble
sun
'cause I'm not an
specifically
idiot
stop
like you.
being visible to us? Be specific.
Because it goes out of your sight. You can't see it anymore.
What does that mean? If my cat goes and jumps over the neighbor's fence, it's out of my sight. I don't think the sun is going behind a fence. Be specific.
No, it's not. It's really not. It's going so far away from you that you can't see it anymore. Just like if a semi truck was 200 miles away, you can't see the lights on front of a semi truck.
So like the airplanes in the airplanes in the night sky that we pretend are shooting stars, When you watch them, eventually you can't see them anymore because the angular resolution of it gets to the point where I can't see it anymore. That's what you say is happening with the sun?
You're comparing a sun to an airplane now.
Is that your claim, that the angular resolution of the sun diminishes so much that we can't see it anymore? You have to unmute yourself.
Now, it's real. Honestly, it's just as simple as looking up it's amateur video. I mean, there's
so the question is, do you think that the sun disappears from our view because the angular resolution of the sun makes it so you cannot see it anymore, like when an airplane gets far away?
I just think the Earth, it goes so far away you can't see it. If it has to do with
explain
the angle,
why it stops being visible. It gets too far away. Do you mean that its angular resolution changes because the farther away something gets, the smaller it gets? Watch this. It's getting smaller, right? So
yeah.
That's what you're claiming is going on.
Absolutely.
You're a fucking idiot. The sun doesn't change in angular resolution when viewed with solar filters throughout the day.
Well, why is there so many amateur videos and photos that say otherwise? The only ones that say otherwise is NASA, and they're ran by occultists.
People have sent me people that are just regular ass people have taken videos of this and sent it to me before. I don't know anybody that works for NASA.
Regular ass videos of what?
Tracking the sun for an entire day and seeing that it doesn't change in angular resolution.
Yeah, I'd have to see that because I've seen the exact opposite.
That's great. You want to watch something with me?
Why can you see Toronto from New York?
You want to watch something with me? Is that the sun?
Yeah, it's the sun.
Okay. Now the sun is about to set. Now why does the sun set? Because it just shrinks so much because of how far away it is? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that what is happening here? Oh no, that's not what's happening here at all. Oh no. The sun is setting, and when they zoom in, the bottom part of the sun is not coming into focus. Oh no. It's almost as if the shape of the earth is obscuring the sun from bottom to top, which is exactly what would happen if the earth was a sphere and was rotating. Oh no. This is also what would happen if the earth was a sphere, but the earth didn't move, but the sun moved. Now, wait a minute. Once the sun sets, though, because all that happens when it sets is it just gets out of our field of view, right? Then they should be able to zoom it in. Oh no, when you zoom in, look, we see the exact moment the sun disappears. But when they zoom in, it doesn't reappear. Oh no. Oh no.
Okay, I wish I could show you the exact opposite on mine because I've got a video that shows the exact opposite.
Yeah, you have a fake video that an occultist put together.
I would say I'd say you do because yours actually looks like it's photo.
I know you are, but what am I?
The funny thing is,
I know you are, but what am I? The funny thing is even the birds are laughing at you.
No, the funny thing is that
the funny thing is you have a low tier subscription to the English language and you ran out of words to use. Proving my point.
No, I'm trying to keep myself.
Yeah, but you can't because you have a low tier subscription and you ran out of words.
No, I'm just trying to choose my words wisely because I care and don't want people to get the wrong impression. Because you would never speak like this in person. If you saw me in person, you'd probably piss your pants. But I just love how tough people get on talking crazy and stuff. But why?
Here, turn your camera on. All right, give us a flex, Daddy.
I'm 6'8", 270 is all I'm saying.
Lots of people are fat. Give us a flex.
Huh?
Most people are fat. Give us a flex.
I'm not fat at all. No fat. I'm just the dude telling you that you wouldn't talk like this if we were in person.
Come on, give us a flex, dude. Do it.
No,
I would
I'm
tell
not
a
going to
stupid
flex
person
there.
they're stupid. I would absolutely do that.
Not in person. You wouldn't tell me that in person.
Yeah, I probably would, actually.
No. No, not without losing some teeth.
Already lost 5. Don't have too
Huh?
many more to lose.
Yeah. No, but why does the 8 inches per mile squared not work anywhere?
What does it doesn't work mean?
Well, it's not observable, or you can't do it anywhere. It doesn't add up anywhere.
What does that mean?
It's you cannot go anywhere on this earth and observe 8 inches per mile squared. You can't do that.
Do you think that that's probably because the Earth is not a parabola?
That's what NASA explains as the curvature of the Earth.
Man.
So why does what NASA give as the math of curvature it's not observable anywhere? In fact, what this is a
Why
good one.
is it?
Why
is it that when you establish a water level and try to look at things that are very far away from you, that are higher in elevation from you, they appear below the level? Why does that happen?
Well, I don't think it does without refraction or stuff that happens.
If you're just going to say nuh-uh to what evidence would convince you that the Earth is a globe?
Well, it would help out that not everything that they put on TV has been photoshopped or have bubbles in it, or you can see different types of green screen things happening. That would do a lot of work, or that anytime they show the International Space Station.
I'm just going to agree with you that we've never been to outer space. We can still prove that the Earth is not flat. It's not even hard to do. For example, you can measure the angle that the sun makes in the... Buddy, literally, I will grant you that NASA is whatever you say it is, and we've never been to space. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Why is it that the angle the sun makes in the sky exactly matches your latitude, which is a sphere model, and when you try to do the trigonometry with a flat Earth, it never, ever, ever correctly predicts where the sun will be?
Okay, so then how did people navigate in the oceans? How did they do all this
sextant
stuff for millennia? Okay, how does sextants work? Does sextants work on a curved area, or does it have to be a flat surface?
You take the tangent of where you are on the Earth, and that's how you establish the position of the North Star. We don't really establish the position of the North Star, but that's how you read the position of the North Star to determine your latitude.
Okay. If that was true, how would they do that back in 1600s on a Navy ship with just a compass, a square, and a map? How do you do that?
You look at the angle that the North Star rises above the horizon, and then you can match that. That tells you what your latitude is, because the tangent line it makes with where you are is going to exactly match your latitude if the Earth is a globe.
Okay, so why does the Air Force, the Army, and Navy all have things, declassified documents saying that the Earth is flat, non-rotating?
They have none of those.
They do. I've got them on my phone. Got multiple of them on my phone. Also,
you've got a 1980s computer model that says, assuming a flat, non-rotating surface because it was a simulation program from the 1980s.
Okay, so how does a Navy
my toenail clippings have more computing power than those do?
How does the Navy sonar work on a curved Earth, and how does the Navy?
I don't know anything about sonar, but I can go outside. You and I could go outside and prove that the Earth can't possibly be flat. You and I could do it today, actually.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. It's just not. I wish I was as educated and smart as you, so I could talk to you better about this.
It's not that hard.
But there's way too much smoke for there not to be fire. And
right, the fact that the southern hemisphere sky rotates in a different direction than the northern hemisphere sky is too much smoke for the Earth to possibly be flat, because there's no physical explanation for for how that's possible. Whereas a rotating globe can only produce a sky that rotates in a different direction than the northern hemisphere sky.
All right. Okay. Well, this is one that, I've been loving. I would love for you this to answer, and apparently you're smarter than Danny Faulkner. So, how do we have a pressurized system here in our
Gravity.
atmosphere next to the
Gravity.
vacuum of space without any physical barrier?
Gravity.
Gravity is not a physical barrier.
You don't need a physical barrier.
Not according to the second law of thermodynamics.
Jesus Christ.
What
What happens when you open a can of soda?
How do you have a pressurized system
Gravity.
next to the vacuum of space?
The weight of the earth and gravity, or the weight of the atmosphere and gravity.
Okay, there's no physical barrier though, unless you're
Correct.
going to admit that there's a firmament.
Because at that scale, gravity is sufficient enough to hold on to the atmosphere.
But yet it doesn't crush us.
The atmospheric pressure, no, because we're used to it. If I teleported you to the bottom of the ocean, you'd be crushed. Yet creatures live down there because they're acclimated to it.
Well,
okay, I don't know what to call you. I'll call you Donation Shop because that's part of your name. What? So you're saying that you can't have pressure next to no pressure, right?
No, I'm saying you can't have a pressurized system next to an endless vacuum without a physical barrier.
Yeah, why not?
It doesn't work. It's impossible.
Yeah, why is it impossible?
A pressurized system. You can't have a pressurized system next to a vacuum.
Yeah, why?
Physics.
Explain.
Why? You're the smart guy. Why do I got to explain to you how a pressurized system can't be next to a vacuum?
Why does somebody that doesn't know anything about any of this have an opinion?
Why can't you answer the question?
Exactly. Why is it that you can't have an atmosphere next to a vacuum? What about the laws of physics preclude that in your mind from happening?
Okay, so if you've got a pressurized system and something is constantly sucking away from that pressure...
Suction is not a force.
Okay, vacuum. You can't have something vacuum away from and it be a steady pressure.
Outer space is not producing a suction force. There is no suction force. When you stick a suction cup to the wall, it is not an internal force that is sucking it against the wall. It's the external force pushing against it. And because there's nothing pushing back, you have an imbalance of force, and it's pressed against.
Endless space at over Mach 88 would not cause any kind
we
of
can accept
force.
Geocentrism and still prove that the Earth is not flat. So we're not talking about that. So the reason in your mind that you cannot have an atmosphere next to a vacuum is because a system will always go from high pressure to low pressure, right?
If there's a vacuum next to it, yeah, it can't maintain a constant pressure without there being a physical.
Does the atmosphere maintain a constant pressure?
Yes.
No,
because there's a firmament dome over it. How does it not?
Is the air pressure thinner 10 miles up?
Well, yes, but it stays at the same air pressure.
That can't happen according to the laws of physics, because what does an atmosphere do? It goes from what to what? From what to what?
I don't know what you're trying to... I'm not tracking.
High pressure to low pressure. What happens when you open a can of soda?
Same thing. Because
what happens?
You're removing the physical barrier.
Yep. So the air goes from high pressure to low pressure, right?
Right.
Why is the air on the ground not flying upward to where it's lower in pressure?
I mean, does hot air not rise?
Why does the atmosphere, it wouldn't matter what the temperature of it is, very, very hot or very cold high pressure air would move into very hot or very cold low pressure air. Why does the air on the ground not fly upward dramatically to equalize in pressure? Gravity. We have an explanation. You don't.
I mean, could it not be buoyancy, or could it not be
buoyancy? How would buoyancy explain this?
Well, no. I mean, How would buoyancy not explain it? I mean,
That's not how that
there's less
works.
water molecules in the air.
As opposed to where? In the ocean?
Higher up, the higher up you get, there's less molecules. Would that not make it less or more buoyant? Would that not cause anything?
Hey Justin, but why would that prevent the air on the ground from rushing up to equalize in pressure?
There's more. I don't know.
Right. So you don't have an explanation. That you gave us this supposed huge problem, but the reason you can't supposedly have an atmosphere next to a vacuum means you can't have pressure gradients either. So let's acknowledge something. Let's acknowledge something that you accept.
I don't think that that saying that you can't have pressure gradients is necessary. And on a smaller scale, like inside of a lab where you just have a small box, turn on a vacuum, and then you're not going to be able to sit. But on a large scale, I think that that's not the case.
Okay. Donation shop. You agree that hot air balloons, weather balloons exist, right?
Weather balloons, absolutely.
And you agree that they go many, many, many miles up in the atmosphere, right?
Absolutely.
And do you understand that at the altitudes they go to, the atmosphere is like more than 10,000 times thinner than it is here at sea level?
Yeah, that's tracking. Yep.
Why can the atmosphere exist to an atmosphere that's 1/10,000th as dense, but it can't exist next to not an atmosphere?
So the vacuum. Wait, say that again, because I didn't make so much sense.
Why can the atmosphere exist next to a void where it's 10,000 times thinner, but it can't exist next to a void where there just is no atmosphere?
Well, because, all right, the atmosphere you're talking about that's 10,000 times less, there's no vacuum and there's no pressure being forced away from how we're traveling, spinning, and all that stuff.
But it's low pressure.
Right. But if there's low
why
pressure,
why does the air below not go up to where it's 10,000 times thinner? There's no explanation for why the atmosphere can sit next to something that's almost indistinguishable from a vacuum, but it can't be next to something that is a vacuum. There's no explanation for that. Well, there is gravity, but when you throw that out, there's no explanation.
Yeah. I'm gonna look into it. You got me thinking. I'm gonna look into it. Because I would like to have a better explanation too, because that's a big one that I've a lot of people, and just to say gravity, yeah, I get it. At the same time, I'll have to look into it some more. But hey, I appreciate you being relatively nice to me. Sorry if I wasn't nice.
I mean, it started off that way, but now we're friends.